All right, we are have our app working, and we're clicking this View Notes button, and we can see all our notes, the 4 notes in our database, and they're showing up on the screen. Now we want to be able to click this button and actually read the note. And so we know that, how do we wire up a button? Well, we have to use the button ID and link up an on event. So the button ID here is note button 0. So let's just wire that up. Let's create an on event for note button 0. And what we want it to do is read from the database so that we get information about that note. The trick is when we click that note button 0, we don't know exactly which note it's talking about. So we're going to do something tricky back up here in our View Notes button. So let's set the text, instead of just view, let's set the text to view plus the ID of the note. So we need another variable, and we'll call it button text. And we'll say button text. Let's say button text equals capital view plus the note ID, which is going to be in records I.id. Okay, then we have the note ID, and then we're going to set the text of that button to that button text, and we can do that with set property. And what we want to set the property of is the note. No, that's not right. We want to set the property of button ID, and we want to set the text property. And what we want to set that text to is button text. Okay, so now when we run it, we should see not just our view on the button, but it's going to be view, and it's going to have the note ID. So that notice what that note ID is. That's the ID from the database. So it's ID 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can use that when we click the button. So when we click note button 0, now we can set the screen to the note content screen, and then we can just read records from the database. We can read records from the database. We're just going to get the one record. So we're going to read records from the notes table. And we want the ID column where the ID is note ID. Okay, and we haven't actually set up note ID yet, so let's do that really quickly. So let's just say, let's create a variable all the way at the top level. We'll call it note ID, and we can come down here, and since we put it on that button, we put the ID right here. This is going to be a little tricky, but we're going to get it off that button. So we're going to say note ID equals get text from we know the button because it's the note button 0, so we know that the ID of that is note button 0. So we're going to get the text of note button 0, and we're going to store it in note ID, and then we want to slice off. So that text is going to be view 1. We want to slice off the first 5 characters. So when we want to say note ID dot slice, and the code for that is 5. So if we you can look that up, what the JavaScript string method slice does. It basically, if we put in 5, it's going to take the first 5 characters, VIEW space, the first 5 characters, and it's going to slice it off, and then it's going to just leave us everything from the end. So we're going to have 1. We're going to have 1 left over, and then we can read records from the database where it's going to look up the note with the ID of 1, and then it's going to just log it out to the console. Let's see if that works. So we reset, we run, we view the notes, and we click on the first note, and let's see if it logged it to the console. No, because we don't have name, so we just have note title. Let's try that again. So we reset, we run, we view the notes, we click on our note, and it's still not logging anything to the console. So let's stop it here, we'll debug it and come back.